We're here. We just got through customs. It was really, really fast. We were in line for maybe 5 minutes. I didn't sleep. I'm so tired. Every time I fell asleep, like there was turbulence. It just didn't work out well. I got a data plan, like an international plan through AT&T, and I'm trying to set it up. And I've never had a problem with this, and it's not connecting. So we're a little frustrated right now, but we're waiting for our bags. We have a bus that we have to take here in a few minutes to Belfast. So it's like 8:10 and we have to catch our bus at 9:20. So we still have some time, but I'm trying to figure out my phone. But I'm excited.
We planned ahead by pre-booking the coach from Dublin to Belfast. We gave ourselves an hour cushion just in case.
Made it on the bus. We figured out our phones. AT&T had not activated our plan, which is obnoxious. Got a hold of AT&T and got that figured out. So glad we printed everything out. We're on the bus. It's 9:15, I think it is, and it's like a 2-hour and 15-minute bus ride. So it's kind of empty, but the seats are really tight. Here we go. The bus will drop you off over here, walk across the street, and you'll come over here. And it's Wellington. But we're going to the Titanic Hotel. It's a quick 10-minute trip for us. We're here. We literally just got here. Holy, my goodness. We're walking up to our hotel. Oh my God, we're staying at the Titanic Hotel, the Harland Wolff headquarters where they like actually designed the Titanic, and we can't find a way to get in. This is surreal. I cannot believe we're here.
Ever since I was little, I wanted to see this place. Life has a way of making those dreams feel far away sometimes. But somehow I made it here.
Oh my God, I can't believe we're here. This is amazing.
We left our luggage at the Titanic Hotel across the street where we will be staying and headed over to the museum right away. As soon as you walk in, you're greeted by the souvenir shop. All the Titanic merch, which I would recommend you purchase at the end of your visit. Right across from that is the galley, grab-and-go sandwiches, and really good coffee, which kept us going throughout the day. Walk a little further and you'll find the pantry, which is the sit-down option. You queue up to order, and when you look up at the ceiling, it's this beautiful nod to what the Titanic ceiling looked like. While waiting in line to order, the pastry case will get you. We couldn't resist. Between our food and dessert, we spent £31.45, and I couldn't wait to try the toffee cake.
Okay, so we got loaded fries, and then we also got chicken tacos, and they look amazing. And then we got a cake, the toffee drip cake, and coffee. So we are starving. We just got into Belfast like an hour ago and came on the bus. We went to our hotel, dropped our bags, and then literally walked across the street and came to eat.
We settled on the loaded fries, which came stacked with crispy fries, perfectly seasoned spicy breaded chicken, and this creamy spicy mayo drizzled on top. We also got tacos to share. Same chicken, same sauce. But we both preferred the fries. I highly recommend.
Cheers! Sriracha mayo on top of this. It's delicious.
We finished lunch off with the toffee cake. It was sweet, rich, and topped with fresh fruit and frosting.
Cheers. Oh my God. What does that even taste like? It's super sweet. It is amazing with the coffee. Got an Americano because I can't have dairy, and all their lattes and stuff are pre-mixed. So the only way I can get oat milk is if I ordered an Americano. It's so good.
We grabbed our passes for the 1 o'clock outdoor tour. We booked early so it wouldn't sell out and got the upgraded option that includes a guided walk around the historic shipyard. Just outside, we met our guide by the Titanica sculpture and the benches outside the museum that spell out the Titanic's final distress call.
In Ireland, we don't have the natural resources to make our own steel, so the steel from Titanic came from places like Motherwell and a great area in this part of the Slipway. We have a few areas of interest. One that
We just did a walking tour. Our tour guide was really funny, and she did give a lot of information that I didn't really quite know about Titanic and Belfast. She showed us some places inside the Titanic Hotel, which was like really, really cool, and gave us information about the museum and the building. I highly recommend getting the premium pass if you're truly interested, because they do give you a lot more information than you would ever find out on your own. But here we are at the Nomadic, the world's last remaining White Star Line vessel. So we're gonna go check that out.
We came to tour the SS Nomadic since the weather was still holding up on us. The tender ship built right here in Belfast in 1911 alongside the Titanic. Walking in, you immediately sense the craftsmanship. The walls, the ceilings, even the floor tiles in the original first-class area reflect the same detail that went into the major ocean liners of the White Star Line. As you move into the steerage or third-class zone, the contrast is striking. A simple bunk bed, a modest table setup with the faux food display, and you get an insight into what life might have felt like for those passengers. Then up on deck, you'll find that interactive steam pipe mechanism, the kind of control rig where full steam ahead was once a literal command on a ship like this. We grabbed some coffee and then headed into the main museum, just a 5-minute walk away, ready to continue our journey through Titanic's story. The journey begins at the Boomtown Belfast and Shipyard Ride. Here, you climb aboard a ride that glides through life-size reconstructions of the Harland Wolff shipyard. This thrilling introduction simulates working at Titanic's construction site. It's a realistic blast of early 1900s Belfast atmosphere that sets the stage for the rest of the museum. After the ride, you enter into the world where Titanic began. You are taken through the design and construction of the liner, opulent first-class environments, and humble third-class quarters. One of the museum's most remarkable highlights is the 360-degree ghost tour projection. Here, you enter a darkened chamber and become enveloped by a wraparound CGI simulation of the Titanic. Giant projections sweep from floor to ceiling, carrying you from the ship's steaming engine rooms up through the decks to the wheelhouse. Along the walls, you can actually touch samples of the materials used on Titanic. Fabric used in the first-class cabins, carpet samples, even sections of rope and chain. First-class china from Titanic's galley is also on view, along with personal items like a passenger's inspection ticket.
The weather's fresh, but pleasant enough, eh?
The museum showcases the actual luncheon menu from April 14, 1912, the last lunch enjoyed by first-class passengers before the iceberg collision. The tone shifts dramatically as you enter Gallery 6, The Sinking. The ceiling dims to a starry black, and a quiet sense of dread settles in. Here you glimpse Morse code blinking lights representing Titanic's radio distress transmissions. Walls are lined with Titanic's distress calls and last messages shown in both Morse code and English. as the operators pleaded for help. Audio recordings relay Captain Smith's frantic Morse signals and operators' words like "sinking fast" as the ship went down. Above you, tiny lights mimic the night sky over the Atlantic the very night Titanic struck the iceberg. Video plays on the wall showing what the liner likely looked like in its final moments. In a somber display case sits a genuine life jacket recovered from the wreck site. Seeing one that was actually taken off a survivor makes you really feel the weight of it when you realize that only about a dozen of these life jackets survived. The wall behind has the names written of the survivors as well as the lives lost. The next section delves into the aftermath. It recounts the British Board of Trade's inquiry, which convened in London just weeks later. Hearings lasted over 42 days and heard testimony from virtually everyone involved. Nearly 100 witnesses answered more than 25,000 questions. Quotes from the inquiry are on the walls. Statements from radio operators, lookout, and others who searched frantically for lifeboats. After that, it turns from loss to discovery in the Ballard's Quest area. It shows the deep-sea exploration technology and the story of Titanic's rediscovery. In the final Ship of Dreams section, the experience reaches its emotional climax. The main gallery is a tall, circular room lit in shades of blue and purple, with wide screens playing scenes from Titanic's history. At its center hangs a gigantic model of Titanic, suspended from the ceiling and spinning slowly. Visitors ascend a spiraling staircase around the model. Looking down, the floor is glass, projecting live video of the real wreckage on the ocean floor. Looking up, you see the illuminated decks of the ship glowing ghostly in the dark. On the lower level, surrounding the suspended model of the Titanic, are personal artifacts that bring the story back to the people who lived it. Each item carries a memory, a reminder that this was more than just a ship. It was hundreds of individual lives. So many people feel a deep connection to the Titanic, even today, because its story is one of both tragedy and humanity, a moment in history that revealed courage, loss, and the fragility of life all at once. One of the most melancholic pieces is an original deck chair, recovered from the Atlantic after the sinking. It's in extraordinary condition. It's wood polished and looks almost untouched by time. It's one of only 6 known to exist, a quiet survivor of that night. Seeing it up close, it's hard not to imagine the calm moments before the tragedy. Passengers sitting in these very chairs, unaware of what was ahead. Perhaps the most haunting display is Wallace Hartley's violin. Hartley was the Titanic's bandmaster, remembered for leading his musicians as the ship went down. When his body was recovered, this very violin was still strapped to him. Standing in front of it, the story feels painfully real. Right after is a life-size railing that makes you feel like you're standing on the ship, ocean visible beyond. You are invited to recreate the Jack and Rose pose. I've heard mixed feelings about this exhibit, but to me, it feels like an acknowledgement of how the film changed the world's view of Titanic, and, by extension, Belfast. Close by, you can look out over the Slipway where Titanic and Olympic were built, with the Harland and Wolff cranes Samson and Goliath towering in the horizon. The 1997 film renewed worldwide interest in Titanic. This momentum helped transform a derelict shipyard into the Titanic Quarter, and in 2012, the museum opened for the centenary of the sinking.
The Titanic was docked over there, and it was docked here, but you can see how it's outlined, and it's outlined on both of them, and it goes all the way to the back. But this right here is like fascinating. This is a map. It lights up at night, so we're gonna come back here in a little bit. But it kind of like goes over the entire trip of the Titanic. So New York is way over there. Let me show you. So this is where it sunk. And then if you follow it, going this way, it takes you on the Titanic's entire voyage. It starts over there, and it starts like there's Belfast, and there's just a few different places that it stopped. So I thought that was like really cool. And then, like I said, like this is the outline. And these pillars were where they had the bridge. So I can't remember his name, but they essentially had to get like a Scottish architect out here to build that. And they ended up taking it down. But they said that imagine 2 more beams stacked on top of each other. That's how tall it was, so that they could work on these ships. Right here is the outline. This is one of the memorials that's located here in Belfast, and it's the only memorial that includes the 8 people that perished while building the Titanic. And if you come, there's a rivet over there in that corner somewhere that fell through the cement, and it stayed there for however many years now. So whenever they got rid of these, like they had a crane on top, I guess, but they got rid of that and they ended up getting those cranes. So Samson and Goliath is what they call them. It's built in the shape of a star, and during the day there's reflective pools underneath, and the reflection beams off the aluminum. We're walking along the path that the Titanic stood in dry dock, I guess it is. And you can see here the boilers would have been there. If you come down to the Titanic Museum, bring a lock. That's cute. I didn't know this existed. Apparently a lot of people don't, because there aren't very many. But that's really cute. Oh, look. The turf area represents the amount of people that got saved. First class, and then second, third, and steerage, I believe. And so you can see as you go closer to the front, there is a lot less turf. And I love that they did that. It's a really good visual representation. If you walk down the path from the museum, you'll be on Maritime Mile. So we are gonna walk down and see what's here. The Titanic studios are right there. World War I ship, the SS HMS Carolyn. So we're here too late, so we can't go tour it, but this is something kind of cool that if you're a World War I person, or just like different ships, this is something you can do. You get to see like all these gigantic ships coming through, which I personally have never really seen operated. Although I will say Captain Phillips is one of my favorite movies. There's a little more of the HMS Caroline. It's a little rainy. We're gonna head back from our little walk and go grab some dinner and hopefully a Guinness, although we did see some yummy Irish whiskey out there, so I'm afraid if I drink something I'm just gonna fall straight asleep. So maybe some water. Oh no, it's gonna start raining for a... Shit. Remember Bran Stark Climb at your own risk.
Sitting on one of the many iron burns.
Oh, that's cool. Love that.
Here at the Titanic Hotel Belfast, the experience begins before you even walk inside. The building itself is part of the old Harland Wolff headquarters. Directly across from the Titanic Museum, you can actually see the museum reflected in the hotel's glass exterior, which makes for a striking first impression. Stepping through the doors, it's hard not to gasp, which I totally did. The lobby is stunning, elegant, and full of history. It feels emotional being here, surrounded by the legacy of the place where the Titanic was designed and brought to life. From the front desk entryway, you can see both drawing rooms, which were once used by the architects and shipbuilders who designed some of the world's most famous ships. Every detail in this hotel has a respectful nod to the past. Even the elevator feels special, with its lush wallpaper. When you reach the guest floors, you're greeted by the beautiful original staircase, one of the surviving features of the old building. As you step into the hallway leading to the rooms, it really does feel like stepping onto a ship. The lighting is low, the doors have metal rivets, and the design immediately puts you in that early 1900s maritime mindset. Each room number is displayed on a small metal plaque, subtly lit from above. It's dark, moody, and beautifully atmospheric. Our room carried that same industrial, ship-inspired design. The carpet features the hotel's logo, and the decor blends leather, wood, and metal for a very cohesive look. The double bed was simple but comfortable, with mock rivets built into the headboard. The space isn't huge, but it's well laid out, especially for being the most affordable room type, which we booked for around $180 a night. One of the best parts of the room was the view. Looking out the window, you can see the Titanic Museum directly across the plaza. It's surreal to think you're staying in the very spot where the ship's story began. The room also had a small wardrobe with robes, slippers, and a kettle with tea and coffee. The large bathroom had black and white tile, tall walls, and plenty of light. It was spacious and clean, with a large window overlooking the museum as well. My only real issue with this entire hotel and our room was with the shower. It was quite small, which was fine, but the floor felt a little unstable, almost like it bubbled up and flexed under your feet. It made showering a bit uncomfortable, which was disappointing in an otherwise beautiful room. The overall stay felt special. The hotel manages to combine comfort, design, and deep history in a way that feels both luxurious and meaningful. It's more than just a place to sleep. It's a chance to stay inside a piece of Titanic's story.
We just finished at the Titanic Museum, and I wanted to show you some of the things we got. We bought a bag for a souvenir for my brother. It was like £4 sterling, I don't know what they use here, pounds. And then included in our premium pass is a guidebook, which is hardback. So we got 2 of those, which was really unexpected. We also got 2, each one of us got an engraved souvenir. This is the one I chose, and this is the other option that he chose. It has the date that we were there, which is really cool. And then a few other things that we bought. This is what we spent on everything, and we did get a 15% discount because with the premium pass you get 15% off food and gifts. So got a Christmas ornament for our tree. We got a coin for a friend. I got this for myself. I love keeping a pretty mirror in my purse, and I love this. It's like soft touch. Love, love. Got a magnet and one other magnet. So that's pretty much all that we got. We checked into our room. First impressions are it's gorgeous, but we love it. The whole building's incredible. Like this is our view. If you look down there, it's one of the drawing rooms, and I don't think you can see it, but that's where the bar is. And this is just like the coolest thing ever. I'm still exhausted. I almost fell asleep at the museum, honestly. But the museum was a really incredible experience. We got there at 12 o'clock. We ate lunch. Gosh, I can't remember where, but we ate lunch. It was really good. And then we met at 1 o'clock for the Discovery tour, which was really cool. And then we got on the SS Nomadic. We went there, did a little tour on that, and then we grabbed some coffee. I think all in all, we spent 5.5 hours, but that included lunch. We felt like we had enough time and we weren't rushing. Actually, I feel like we rushed a little bit during some of the exhibits inside because there were so many people and you couldn't really sit and read everything, which was kind of obnoxious, but to be perfectly honest, I am so tired. I don't think I could have spent a little more time there. Titanic Museum, gorgeous. This hotel, it's the most beautiful hotel. Just historic, everything that I've ever been in, and I would highly, highly, highly recommend it. We have a really early morning tomorrow. We're gonna go have a drink and dinner downstairs of one of the drawing rooms, so I'll bring you along for that here in a minute, but I just kind of wanted to catch up since we just went into the museum, so I just wanted to give like kind of first impressions. Alex, what are your thoughts?
My feet hurt.
Your feet
It's
hurt.
been a long day.
The other thing I wanted to kind of say was the weather here has been glorious. I've been getting away with a t-shirt and a sweater. That's one of the things I was most concerned about, was what to wear. But we're just gonna take you for a little tour of the hotel. I don't think you get how gorgeous this place is. Like all the details. It's a dream. This is the original staircase from Harland Wolff whenever it was the headquarters, so they've restored the whole thing.
We move deeper into the hotel now, into the parts that feel like a private behind-the-scenes museum. We start in Thomas Andrews' office. Andrews was the naval architect at Harland and Wolff who led the design of the Titanic and her sister ships. Born in 1873, he rose through the company to head the drawing office and sailed on Titanic's maiden voyage as part of the builder's team. He didn't survive the sinking in 1912. Standing in his office now feels strangely personal. This was the space where ideas for one of history's most famous ships first took shape. You can almost imagine him leaning over blueprints, pencil in hand, lost in the details of a ship. From there, we step into one of the conference rooms. These rooms once hosted designers, engineers, and shipbuilders as they planned every part of vessels like Titanic and Olympic. Heavy wooden furniture, deep leather chairs, and old maritime details give it the feel of a captain's planning room, the kind of place where decisions might have shaped the future of shipbuilding. Next, we move into the main headquarters. The walls are covered in black and white photographs, engineers' sketches, and display cases full of tools and other artifacts. The architecture and design in here is beautiful, including the original revolving door. Workers passing through this entrance were once subject to wage deductions by its misuse. Our guide told us about visitors like Jackie Kennedy who walk these halls. It was a big deal then. This office is where Harland and Wolff managed communication across the shipyard, including the area known as the Marconi or telephone exchange room. Harland and Wolff left this site in 1989, and for years parts of the drawing offices fell into decline. By the early 2000s, sections were on a buildings at risk list. The restoration was a major effort. The drawing offices and telephone exchange were conserved and adapted for reuse, supported in part by a Heritage Lottery Fund grant and a broader redevelopment that brought the site back to life. The careful restoration kept as many authentic features as possible while giving the building a new purpose. One of the most important rooms they've preserved is the telephone exchange, often called the Marconi Room. The hotel preserves it as the communications hub of Harland and Wolff and notes that this room received the early communications informing the yard that Titanic had struck an iceberg. Titanic's Marconi operators sent CQD and SOS calls that were picked up by other ships and shore stations, and wireless reports were relayed rapidly across maritime networks. The telephone exchange here is where Harland and Wolff learned of the disaster.
That's Titanic House, where those guys came out. Apparently the workers would go and check in there.
The moment we entered Drawing Office 1, the scale of it took my breath away. I've seen it for years in old photos, but the moment I stepped in and looked up, it was surreal. The barrel vaulted ceilings, arched windows, and sheer size of the room instantly pull at your emotions. This was where the ship's blueprints were drawn to scale, where light poured in from above so draftsmen could work with precision. The sense of history here is incredibly powerful. Finding it set up for a wedding was an extra bonus. We walk into Drawing Room 2, where the beautiful bar sits beneath the high vaulted ceiling, just like in Drawing Room 1. A grand replica of the Titanic commands the front of the space. There's lounge seating all around. It was busy, so we sat at the bar and took a moment to appreciate the details. On the bar front, you'll spot original Villeroy and Bach tiles, the very same design used in Titanic's first-class bathrooms and swimming pool. Up above the bar, there's a clock from the RMS Carpathia. I order my first Guinness in Ireland, and when the glass hits the table, I'm so exhausted, I literally nod off for a few seconds. Alex wakes me up laughing just in time for our meal. He chose the sugar pit pork loin with a fried egg, gravy, and colcannon, a creamy mashed potato with cabbage. And I'm not normally a cabbage person, but this was so good I really do think about it often. I went for the club sandwich, chicken breast, bacon, or ham for us in the US, and fries. Everything was delicious, every bite, and I'd absolutely recommend having dinner here. It's casual enough to relax, but it's elevated and just plain iconic. Our bill came in at £52 and 25 pence sterling. We ended the night early, watching the sunset from our room, surrounded by the legacy of it all. Catch my next video to see our day 2 in Ireland. There's so much more to come, and I will have a link to my free Ireland itinerary in my bio.
We got a cure for your soul day to day. It's a travel remedy.